Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Edward. Heavy Cardboard, welcome. So, a little background on this game, Ahau, from Apeiron Games. So, they reached out, I don't know, a couple months ago and said, hey, we have this Mayan-themed Euro and might be interested in working together. And I was like, I don't know, let me look into it. I looked into it, found out that the game looked interesting. And then from there, I found out that they did have a cultural consultant on board. And in fact, I'm looking at the rule book on this. A David S. Anderson, instructor at Radford University, U.S. lecturer at the Archaeological Institute of America, researcher of the origins and development of early Mayan culture, consultant on the board game Ahau. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So they sent me 2 copies of the game, and the reason is one was an earlier prototype and the other one is the one you're going to see today. And yeah, so we busted out a play of this. If you're a patron, you may have seen this already, like behind the scenes pre-play that we did. And Kickstarter's coming on February 22nd. We're going to be doing a playthrough of this around the 1st of March, the first week of March, give or take a few days there. And I thought, you know what? Why don't y'all like seeing behind the scenes stuff. Y'all like seeing this stuff ahead of time. So I thought I would give y'all a little sneak peek, an overview. I am not going to teach the game today. I'm going to give you an overview. Really, that's it. I promise. So, Ahau, rulers of Yucatan. Yeah, enough about that. Let's just roll into it, shall we? So there it is. That's it's currently set up. So last night we did a 4-player play of this, and this is kind of the setup that we used for it. We may be doing a 5-player of this when we do the stream. I don't know. We'll see. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Oh, I suppose I ought to give credit. So Apeiron Games obviously sent us the, this is very much a prototype, but it's in, again, like most of the prototypes that arrive here at HCHQ, it's a really nice production. If you had gotten this, like everything is prototype, so everything is subject change because, as you know, Kickstarter, all that stuff. Designer is Tomas Ola, by the way, who's Hungarian, which you wouldn't think Hungarian and Mayan. However, like I said, the fact that they got the cultural consultant on board, that's pretty cool. I'm on board with that. All right, if y'all have questions, ask them, but as it is, I'm going to go ahead and give an overview of this. So as I said, it's set up as a 4-player game. You have the main board, obviously, here. The goal of the game is fame, victory points, victory point track, around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. The game, the main way that you're going to be scoring points in this game, well, there's a few different ways, honestly, are summoning gods and being able to score these at the end of a, call it a round, but they're called katoons. And I apologize if my Mayan is not up to speed, so I think it's pronounced katoon. So the game takes place over 3 katoons. Katoons are theoretically about 20 years or so. And each katoon has an indeterminate number of rounds, anywhere from 1 to however many. Last night's game, in our game, we played a total of 9 rounds over the 3 katoons. I think it was 4, 3, and 2 rounds is how it worked out, but that's not necessarily how it's going to work out every game. But as I said, the game takes place over katoons. On your turn, basically what you're going to be doing is each phase, or each turn, has 2 phases. You have a movement phase and then an action phase. Movement phase is pretty simple. Everybody has a symmetric deck of, or a hand of cards. They're number 1 through 6. They correspond to both the regions out here as well as a strength value. So you're going to play 2 cards, a left one and a right one. The left one is going to be where your leader is going to go. So which region your leader is going to go to. Theoretically, it's going to be possible to go to the same region, but more likely, because when you play cards, they're going to go into a discard pile. So if you played the region number 2, you're not going to have the 2 in your hand, but there are ways to get other cards in your hand. But I digress. Left card is going to be where you're going to go. The right card is going to be the strength, because if multiple rulers go to the same region, you're going to basically have combat. One's going to win, move up the war track. The other one's going to get a pity consolation, i.e. a little weapon, and then they have to bug out and go somewhere else. And then once all of that is resolved, everybody's going to grab a temple tile, because temple, well, we're building to the various gods. There are 5 gods in this game in which we're going to be able to summon potentially throughout a turn. So movement phase, put out cards, put your leader out, your ruler out, and then take temple tiles. Then from there, the meat of the game from there is the action phase. The action phase has 4 steps on it, and those 4 steps are right here. So you're going to place workers out on the board, then you may summon a god, then you may, and you're almost always going to produce or build one or the other, and then potentially redraw cards if that's the end of your hand of cards, if you have 1 or less cards. So, pretty simple mechanically. However, what we discovered last night in our play is each of the gods do something ridiculously overpowered and amazing, but you can't focus on just one. You do have to diversify as you go along. So, overview-wise, points, I had mentioned earlier, the majority of your points are going to come, what felt like, at least last night, is from summoning the gods. Because whenever you summon gods, there are the 5 different gods out here. They are, and I'll show you all the temples and the associated gods with them. So we have little 3D little temples out here. And the gods, let's go ahead and bring that in a little bit tighter so you all can see. So the gods, and I'm going to butcher these, so I'm not going to try. We have the chief god. Hey, that's going to basically get you more tiles to help you build the temple, as well as be able to summon stronger versions of the gods. Then you have the rain god, which is going to get you more resources, because you need resources to be able to build your temple with those tiles that you're going to acquire. The jaguar god is going to allow you to move workers out on the board, and that is deceptively powerful, we realized last night. So, yeah, more on that in a bit. Then after that, you have the sun god, which allows you to draw cards back into your hand. So, hey, you just played that Region 2 card. Maybe you can draw that Region 2 card back into your hand to be able to do it again. So that is, again, sneaky powerful. And finally, you have the Feathered Serpent, which can get you a whole lot of points. We had one of us, Martin, last night, scored 17 points from that. In a game that the winner had about 120, 17 points in a single action, not something to be slept on. So, all right. Again, go over it. Play cards. 2 cards, a region, or try that again. A region card where you want your leader to go, and then a strength. There's going to be combat if multiple leaders go. Go up the war track's going to get you a bonus. Either get you resources, get you more tiles, etc., etc. And then after that, everyone's going to take a tile in their given region. Then from there, you're going to place workers. The workers go out on these city tiles. These city tiles are also associated with the various gods. All right, those 5 gods each have a temple out here. And when you place a worker out there, say I put it out here on chalk on the rain god out there, then from there, wherever you placed your worker, you may then summon a god. So if you summon a god, well, there's a couple of prerequisites to it. First off, you have to have the tile either built in your temple or in your supply that you haven't built yet. You may have multiple of these. The more temples, more tiles of that god, the stronger the action's going to be. So if, for instance, I had that 1 here, I would have a strength of 1. But if throughout the game I had acquired more through drawing out of the bag or from getting others out here, any that are here already built in your temple, those are basically permanent strength for that god. Whereas these are temporary strength. You can always discard these out of the game. Mostly, these might come back into the bag, but I digress. So you can discard, and for everyone you discard, along with everyone that's already in your temple, it's a strength. So that would give me a strength of 2. And then you get to carry out the action of what that is. In that case, you get to produce resources. The resources, there are 5 different resources. They're just cubes in our version of the game. Those may be better in the Kickstarter, but those resources are going to be used for building up your temple, as well as building buildings, which are going to be little rule breakers for you. So easy enough, summon the god, do the action. And then from there, you can either build in your temple, build tiles down below, your building tiles, or you can produce. Producing's pretty simple. Producing is adjacent to where you just placed your worker. Go ahead and use one of these production sites to produce resources. The amount of resources is based on the number of workers that you have out there. So I just placed this one. If I chose to produce cacao, I have 3 adjacent to it. Boom, I would get 3 cacao over into my supply, easy enough. Building, if I had resources here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 different resources, depending on the height of it, and then you're going to score some points associated with that. But the key thing in this game that we learn is summoning these gods. So when you summon them, not only are you doing the bonus action of whatever it does, the important thing is you'll notice that everybody has 5 of these little markers over here. Whatever the associated temple is, in this case, it is going to be that temple there. You're going to mark it with one of your markers. When you do so, you'll immediately score 3, 1, or 0 points, whatever that may be. But the kicker is, at the end of a Katoon, there's going to be a celebration, i.e. a scoring phase, and that is the majority of the scoring in this game. That is going to be triggered one of 3 ways. When all of these, based on the number of players. So we're looking at the 4 and 5 player side. So once this one gets covered, so you're looking at once 7 productions have happened, either through the various god actions when you've summoned, or through the production action as your main action, then you're going to have a celebration. That celebration, and this we found was pretty clever, was each of these temples, if you have a presence, you're going to score some number of points. But it's not necessarily attuned to you. They are global scoring things. And what I mean by that is, take for instance, where I marked here, what that is going to be is score the number, whoever has the most temple tiles in their temple, score that many points. So if I had built, say, 8 of these, whoever is here, whether it's me or someone else, is going to score 8 points. Their strength markers, on this one, we had somebody score, I think it was 18 points on that one. And it's not necessarily what you have, it's what the person who has the most of has globally. So even if they're not present there, you still get the leech points from what they've gathered. So again, if I had 8 of these built and I wasn't there, but let's say one of the other players was there, and in fact, let's say multiple of them, I had 8, they're going to score 8 points because I have the most temple tiles, but I'm not going to score because I'm not there. Whereas if I'm here, and you can be on theoretically all 5 of those temples, but the catch is, to be able to do that, you have to go out here and place workers on the various different gods. But not all those actions are going to be the actions you want to take. And so there's this really good push-pull mechanism of focus on the main core thing that you're wanting to do, or do you focus on potential end of round scoring? Yeah. And then there's kind of an area majority of number of workers in a given city as well. There's scoring during the Katoon celebration for that as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's deceptively simple in mechanism-wise, but there's a surprising amount of depth here and really tough decisions. Again, if our patrons watched it, or for those patrons that watched it last night, you saw this. But yeah, we were pleasantly surprised how the theme carries throughout the game, the whole 9 yards. So let me check out chat here. Oh, all right. Well, not a lot of questions. Okay. So if there are any, please feel free. Otherwise, I think that's kind of a good overview. A couple of things I didn't really touch on a whole lot. The regions, as you see, are broken up. There are 6 different regions in the 4- and 5-player game. There are going to be reasons why you're going to want to have your workers in the various cities, not only for producing resources and not only to be able to summon the various gods to be able to score at the end of each of the Catoons, but then there are buildings randomly put out here in each of the regions. Once you have a presence in all of the cities that surround that region and your ruler has gone to that region. So for instance, if I had something along the lines of, say, that, I'm going to be able to claim that building tile, and instead of paying the resources associated with it, I just get to build it on my board for free. There is a small catch though, because remember, whenever you play a region card, so let's say I played that to go out into 1, and then maybe I played a strength of 3, as it were, because maybe I've already played my 4, 5, and 6 on a previous turn. Well, if I want to go to Region 1 to be able to claim that, I have the presence there, or maybe I still haven't placed one, but on my turn I'm going to be able to place a worker to go out there. That'd be great. But then, if somebody else has placed their ruler out there, then I have to be able to have enough strength. I have to win that fight. Well, I only have a strength of 3 plus any weapons I have. Well, if I don't have any weapons, somebody else puts out a 4 or higher, or possibly a 3, and if they're further up the war track, that would be the tiebreaker, then I have to bug out. I don't get to do that. So instead, you have to go to another region that is adjacent to it that is unoccupied. And so maybe that thwarts the main part of your plan. So you better be planning to be able to claim these strong buildings. You better be able to plan for that a turn or 2 ahead. Now, there are some other clever things that you could do in this game, especially around the Jaguar god. Jaguar, except no substitute. So the Jaguar god allows you to move workers. So if I have something along the lines of this, depending on the strength of the Jaguar, you can move your workers adjacent spots, depending on what that strength is. So if I had a strength of 4, meaning I had 4 Jaguar tiles here between there and unbuilt, I could discard the unbuilt ones, whatever, and if I get a strength of 4, I could do something like this, moving that 1, 2, 3, check that. Let's try that again. 1, 2, it would have to be 5, 3, 4, 5, boom, now I can claim that building. And it also helps for majority scoring for the buildings that are out here as well, or I'm sorry, for the cities out here during the Catoon celebration. So yeah, there's some really clever combinations that you guys can do in this game. And like I said, we were pretty pleasantly surprised. Oh, okay, and Jess says, apparently Apeiron Games offering a first day backer bonus. Great to see this before him. There you go. All right, so there you go. That is Ahau, Rulers of Yucatan. So look for it on the 22nd. We will have a playthrough of it around the first week of March or so. And yeah, I hope you all check it out, see if it's a good fit for you and your game group. And I'll be back tonight. We're going to be doing a playthrough of Praga Kaput Regni. And I will see you all then, and I'll see you the first week of March with the playthrough. Take care, y'all. Thanks. Bye.